Hello guys, welcome back to the crew calling all units. Comparison test number 23 I think we are meanwhile. Performance category number 8, which is also the last one for the performance. And that are the bikes. Well, let's quickly talk about the bikes. With the release of Wildrun, we had also some bikes, and at first there was not that much choice. We had the KTM 450, which is mainly street, dirt and raid. And we had the BMW S1000 and the Kawasaki Ninja H2. Those were sort of the two options we had, and it was a balance between either handling and speed. Kawasaki Ninja H2 still has the highest top speed in performance. Can reach with slipstream 450 kilometers an hour. There is no bike or car that can reach that. Some are coming close, but not close enough. In circuit spec, the same story. There it can reach 460 kilometers an hour, which is no longer the fastest because the Lamborghini Huracan can beat it top speed wise. Not for handling though. So for speed trap, you're definitely gonna end up with the Ninja in most scenarios. BMW has a bit more handling, so on our test track that we use for the performance here in the area of Daytona towards Chattanooga, BMW is definitely going to have an advantage over the Ninja. But those were Wildrun bikes in the beginning, and then they added a few. We had the KTM 1290. There has been some small patches and some big patches. April 2016 was probably the big patch, where they completely ruined the bikes. The bikes were kinda too OP, they were winning everything also in PvP races. BMW or the Ninja were winning everything in street, dirt and raid. The KTM 450 was winning everything, even faster than the cars. So that was a bit of a problem for those who didn't have Wildrun. They couldn't win, so they complained and they patched the bikes, and the handling was kinda ruined, which makes the bikes less OP now. So they added the KTM 1290, but there has been, for instance, the 1290, as you will see in this video, there has been some smaller patches. Also with the release of Calling All Units, they did some small patches on the bike, and that gave some of the bikes a little bit more handling, or better to handle now, as you will see. And then we had performance spec for the Ducati Monster, for instance, the Panigale R and the Kawasaki Z1000, which are both are Summit rewards. Then with Calling All Units we got the Chief Dark Horse, the Kawasaki 900, the 1984 model, and the KTM 1190, and so on. So we have way more bikes now than the 2-3 we had in the beginning of the Wildrun. So let's have a look what they all do if we compare them to each other. Just in alphabetical order as I always do it, and off we go. First one up. It's nighttime, it has been raining, but yeah, I just ran it because some people were asking about where do the comparison tests are. Well, it's sometimes a bit tricky to record. Meaning, at first I wanted to do it at the same conditions, but it's just not possible here. I am in the south here, as I mentioned before, just north of Dakota, and we are going towards Chattanooga, as we have done with all the performance spec. And this is really very, very painful to record here. You cannot do two runs in the same conditions. Either it's night or daylight, that is the difference, and half the time it's raining. Well, more than half the time. I don't know where or when they did this, but it's pretty obvious they did something in a patch which makes the chances on the rain increase in this game. Because it's not only for this free draw challenge, it's also in summit events, way more rain events there. I don't know what the idea behind that is that to annoy people so that they play more of that Calling All Unit crap, which is still unfinished, which is still bugged. They patched it already twice and it's still messing about. There are people getting 15 league points if they do a great mission or bust a player or something. Other people are getting 115 league points just to give you an idea. For me it's pretty simple. I disabled all notifications so I don't get bothered by that police thing. and in my opinion they can just roll back to pre-calling all units, because then we had a better game than we have now with this calling all units bullshit. We get a few new cars, but yeah, we paid 25 euros for that. No, not worth it at all. As a competitive player, I'd rather have they would update the PvP and the summit more, get the cheater event out. Cheater events, I mean that speed skills with alt enter, jumps where you can bounce up again, hill climbs where you do the bike glitches and so on. It's a mess. That would be great. Most of my friends have left this game meanwhile, all competitive players, but calling all units is messing it all up. Meanwhile, we're almost at the end with our first bike, which is well, one of the first bikes we got here in this game, BMW 1000. And that's still, yeah, it has a good handling, and it also has a decent speed, just a little slower than the Ninja, but the BMW handles better. So this is definitely a contender for the winner's battle with a 228.5. Well, I've done some challenges before, and yeah, most likely it's going to be in the top 2, because that is what we need. We need 2 of these bikes to go into the winner's battle, and then we will have 15 cars and bikes to do the winner's battle. That's the only BMW we have. Well, we do have the 1200, but that is dirt and raid and street, so that's not really available in performance or circuit spec. So it's the only BMW. We have 3 Ducatis, starting with the Diavel. Diavel has a pretty good handling, but acceleration and speed are just, yeah. If you can get it going on the highway, then it's all fine. But if you're on a twisty track like this, you already see it at the start, pretty slow start. Top speed is kinda okay, but that's sort of the same for all these bikes. They are pretty similar, top speed wise. One scores a little bit higher than the other one, but it's raining here, as you can see. Or maybe you can't see it on the video, but it is raining. It's a slightly dripping rain here, and yeah. But it's impossible to do. I had to test 11 bikes here. It's just impossible to wait on the sun and do 11 runs in dry weather, because then you're standing here for 3-4 hours or more to make that happen. That is how the situation is in this game at the moment. If you're spending half an hour somewhere, you can guarantee you it's raining. That was not the case when I started playing this game, which is a bit more than a year ago now. I bought the game after Wild Run. It was raining occasionally, and yeah, more in the east coast and the south than anywhere else, but still it's all over the place now. It's all over the place, and it's way more frequent than it was before, so I'm pretty sure they patched the weather conditions somewhere during a small patch, or but of course those are things that they don't tell in the patch notes. They only tell the good news and not the bad news. I have to slow down in the corners a little bit more, although this thing has pretty good handling. For a long time I used it in precision skill tests, because you could handle it and the speed didn't matter that much there on a twisty track here or there with the precision skill test. The Diavel was usually the best choice. Diavel or the KTM. But this one has a little bit better brakes than the KTM 1290, so and because of the wide tires, it has pretty wide tires compared to the other bikes. It also has a decent grip. But meanwhile we have already 11, well, we have more than 11 bikes, but in this performance category we have 11 bikes, but yeah, also they are not really doing anything with it. They brought the stunt race, but that's more specified to dirt and raid spec, so a 238, that's 10 seconds slower than the BMW, so no, this one is not going to go into the winner's battle. Second one for Ducati is the Monster 1200. In summer they announced a circuit spec for this one, but I don't know. I think someone at Ubisoft or Ivory Tower was not right there. Probably confused it with the Panigale, because meanwhile we are about 9 months later and we still don't have this Ducati Monster in circuit spec. Although it was announced in the summer of 2016, they brought a list of updates that were supposed to come. And most of the things we got, most of the things, cars, bikes, changes into the game, we have gotten all that. Just the only thing missing from that list is this Monster in circuit spec. Maybe there was a problem with the license or something, I don't know. Or someone just messed it and mixed it with the Panigale, which has a circuit spec. It's not even that bad in performance spec, this one. Just, yeah, a little bit slow on acceleration, and handling is kinda okay. Handling is the biggest problem of the bikes. Really have to slow down in corners like this to get through it. Could steer way sharper before the April 2016 patch. For instance, in the summit last week, or 2 weeks ago, there was a summit or summit qualifier with speed trap where we had to use the KTM bike on that, well, what we call Pumpkin Island. Somewhere in the east coast there, where sort of a circle there, and you have to do 5 cameras, and it's full of pumpkins. And we were reaching speeds around 300 kilometers an hour average. And it's the same qualifier as last year, before the April patch. And I saw some footage where people were doing averages of 315 or 316 kilometers an hour. To give you an idea, and that's all because of the corners. They were way sharper that you could take them. Now you have to slow down more, and that's where you lose it. And that's where the cars will probably take up. Although with some of the bikes you might have a chance, still even today. Because meanwhile there have been some small patches, and the bikes, they do handle a little bit better again. Compared to, let's say, summer 2016. Well, let's see what we get here. 236.6. So that's faster than the Diavel. So at this moment the Monster is the better Ducati. I do say at this moment because, yeah, this is more of a racing bike. The Panigale R, November 2016 Summit Reward. Only November. Normally the Summit Rewards were 2 months that you could get them. But this one was for November and December normally. But seen in December it's the Summit Finale. They came up with something special, and they have the Mercedes AMG GT as a Summit Reward. So this bike could only be won in November, and then you had to wait a month or 2 months in case you didn't win it, and then it came into the dealers as well. Or maybe even a bit longer, because I think it took till late January, maybe even early February before it was in the dealers. But I'm always doing Summit and Summit stuff, so playing for a top 5 even, so I was guaranteed a Platinum. I was also guaranteed these Summit rewards in the first month. But yeah, there are no, well, there are sorta. After the March update you can now win in the monthly Summit. You can win whatever car it is you do not have in your garage yet. But no longer new cars, so for me that doesn't change anything. I already have every single car in my garage, so also the bikes. Get them all. And as I showed in a video a couple of days ago or weeks ago, I joined the 1497 club, meaning that all these specs and cars and bikes, they're all at 1497. So I'm kinda wondering what they're gonna give me. Probably 20,000 crew credits or something as a summit reward, because I can no longer win bikes or cars. Which is a bit of a shame. There's not really anything to play for, and that competitive players, yep. Motivation gone, since you can't win anything you don't have yet. So they just left the game, or they play less or whatever. Meanwhile, driving around in the Panigale, not even that bad. The Monster and the Diavolo are more cruiser bikes, and yeah, this is more of a racing bike. So it should be the fastest of the three Ducatis. Which it also is, with a time of 2:31.2, it's not even that far up. So definitely the best Ducati, the Panigale R, at this moment second best here, after 4 of the bikes that we tested so far. So 7 to go. Let's move from Ducati to Indian, to their in this category, in athlete performance. Indian Chief Dark Horse. It's a calling all unit exclusive bike, if I'm not mistaken. If you don't have calling all units, you cannot drive this thing. But well, yeah, can immediately tell you that, especially in performance, you're not really missing anything. This is a heavy bike. Handling is kinda okay, but you sort of have to take wide turns with it to make it go somewhere. Acceleration wise, it is due to the weight not that good. To put it pretty simple, it's the worst. As we'll see, it's also the slowest of all the bikes. Cruising bike, have some fun with it in free drive, all good, but you're not gonna win many things with this. Event wise, or challenge wise, or whatever. No, not with this one. In street spec, it's not that bad top speed wise, meaning that it's even faster than the KTM 450, which is due to acceleration and handling and all. It's still the best street spec bike, but this one has a higher top speed, just like the Ducati Hypermotors has. 2 of the new bikes that have a higher top speed than the KTM 450. But here in performance spec, it's not really playing its role. It's a cool looking chopper, I guess, but speed wise, time wise, racing wise, it's not really, no. Cruise around on the highway in free drive, not a problem with this thing. But it's a little bit too heavy to handle well on twisty tracks like this one. In a way, you go around smoothly on this track. Just not fast enough compared to the other things that we are dealing with here. Braking and then acceleration needs, yeah, you need to boost every time, because otherwise it takes pretty long before it actually goes anywhere. Here we have a pretty long, if I remember, 1 minute and a half or something, finish buck. Here we go, 4 minutes 15, it was still wasn't finished. And then the event finally finished with a time of 2:42.0, as I mentioned before. Nope. Definitely not winners better, because as will turn out with you later on, this is the slowest of the lot. 11 bikes, and it's on position 11 for the bikes in performance. which already means that the other Indian, the Scout, will be faster than the Chief Dark Horse. But also this is well, more of a shopper cruising bike, and we have 4 racing bikes: the BMW, the Ducati Panigale, the KTM 1190 and the Kawasaki Ninja. Yeah, then you're not gonna win in a bikes category with a shopper if there are 4 racing bikes in there. Just not gonna happen. But all in all, this kinda goes pretty okay. Just, yeah, it's a bit slow. Again, here pressing the nitro as sort of a reaction to this slow acceleration, and then you press the nitro and half the time your bar is empty. Also have to, as you can see here, fully on the limit there, steering wise, so you have to slow down quite a bit to be able to make the corners, and you lose, compared to some other bikes, you lose quite some speed. There are some bikes that do have decent handling and you do not need to slow down for corners that much. But yeah, with the Indians, you do. And then you can smoothly cruise around on these things. If you consider that, or take in mind that the steering ratio is not that big, so you really have to be careful on the corners, but and on the cars, which is also a problem. You turn left and then right when you have to make corrections. Slowly. It will make the corrections eventually, but slowly. Especially from third gear on, it's kind of slow on acceleration. 37.1 is the result. That's somewhere, yeah, at the end of the pack, in the middle of the pack. But it is the fastest of the Indians, because the other one, yeah, not really. Then we come to the Kawasaki's, and they are sorta, yeah, a bit of a different story. We have a twisty track here. That's already a disadvantage for the Ninja H2, because that's pretty good when you have longer straights and you have top speed wise it's the best. So we will start with the GPZ 900R Ninja 1984, the older version of a Ninja, I guess. This one has a bit, yeah, which seems to be a slow approach on things, but it's not that slow, as you will see. And it has a pretty good steering. You can really put the driver in the corner. I think it mainly lacks a bit of top speed. Handling is pretty much okay. The brakes are decent, but also here high gear acceleration is not that good. The lower gears it's kind of okay. I believe it can do 430 kilometers an hour or something, but or 434. But most of these bikes can do around 430, 433, 435. Some of them, and one can do 450, and that's the the newer version of the Ninja, the H2. So for speed traps, you're still gonna go for that one. But it probably has the worst handling, the Ninja H2, which we will test in the next video, but or in the next run, I should say. Also, traffic-wise, we have a pretty decent run here. Traffic not really interfering with any of the corners at this moment. Yeah, the brakes are pretty good here with this thing. Pretty smooth run. Also this one, same story here again. Finish bug takes a while before it actually will finish, as you can see here. Had to fast forward here quite a bit. Good thing they patched all that, didn't they? 231.7. That is only just after the Panigale R. So, third place at this moment for the old Ninja here. But also that one is calling all units exclusive. Not this case for the H2, because that is Wild Run exclusive. You need to have the Wild Run to drive the bike, but you can drive this one. As I said, one of the two that were there, it always was a choice between handling for the BMW and then speed for this one. And that sort of still is the case. Handling wise, this thing is not that good, which means on a twisty track like this one, you have to slow down for most of the corners, more than you will with the BMW. Which is still our fastest time, the BMW. Now, as you can see, there is a bit, I don't know what it is, morning rush hour or something. But there is quite some traffic here compared to the previous run with the old Ninja. But it's not only on handling that the BMW wins it on a track like this, also on acceleration. I've done a drag, 1 mile drag race with all the cars and bikes once I have done them in the Driving All Cars series, where I've driven every car and bike in this game. And the fastest bike in circuit and in performance back, acceleration wise, was the BMW. So also on acceleration it loses it, but it makes up for it with the higher top speed. BMW also does somewhere around 428, 429. This can do 450. So on a long straight, you're gonna see the BMW somewhere in your rear mirrors, but on a twisty track like this, nah, not really. The handling is just not good enough on this bike. And on a track like this, of course, the speed doesn't matter that much. We're not making that high speeds here. And the result of that is it's just going to be slower. Not only slower than the BMW, but also slower than the old Ninja on this track, which was kind of a surprise. There was more traffic, so I'm assuming they sort of do the same time though. But nevertheless, a 234.2. Which brings us with another summit reward. If I'm not mistaken, October summit reward, or yeah, I think it was September, October 2016. That is the Kawasaki Z1000. Now, as I mentioned before, for precision skill tests and so, I used the Ducati Diavel pretty often. That was till I had this thing. This thing is probably the bike with the best handling in the game. You can really lay this down in the corners. But yeah, it has a little bit of a problem also with the top speed. The new Ninja is faster top speed wise. I believe this also reaches 430, 431. The old Ninja can do 434, the new Ninja can do 450, so that's already a problem. But this is way better. Yeah, although the old GPZ 900 is also pretty good handling wise, but I still think that this one is the best of the three Kawasaki's, and even of all the bikes, I think. It just lacks a little bit speed, it lacks a bit of acceleration, but it wins it on handling and brakes. Little corrections here even to avoid cars. And talking of cars, also here we have the problem that compared to the GPZ, we have way more traffic here in this run as well. But if in some twisty precision skill tests you cannot use a drag car for the summit event or something, then usually the best option is a bike. Then you're probably gonna end up with this one. Because it also has the better brakes compared to the other pretty decent handling bike, which is the KTM 1290. But this one has better brakes. Bit bad luck with traffic here and there, corner wise. 234.2 as well. Also here, like I said, compared to the GPZ run, we had more traffic here. Handling wise, it's definitely the best of the Kawasaki's. Speed wise, it will be the Ninja H2. And yeah, combination of both sorta in the GPZ. Which means we still are down to the BMW 1000 and the Ducati Panigale R as being at this moment the top two, and we need two bikes to be to put in the winners battle with the other 13 cars we already have from the previous categories. So maybe one of the KTM's. Let's have a look. Calling all units exclusive again. This one KTM 1190 RC 8 Racing. This is a bit of a strange bike, I personally think. It doesn't feel fast. It sort of feels like it's not going anywhere. It's more of a diesel bike. That's how it feels. It looks slow, but then if you do some challenger or something, you get some pretty decent times with that thing. And although on a run like this, where does it come from? Most likely from the speed. The acceleration, it feels slow, but it probably isn't that slow because usually you have decent times. It handles, yeah, kinda okay, but it's sometimes you think, oh, I thought I would make that corner. Brakes are pretty decent. But yeah, there's a little problem, as you could see. Had to make a little correction, immediately ended up on the bar there, and the barrier at the end. Or on the side of the road there, and yeah. That's where it loses its handling. Acceleration feels slow, but it seems that you look at times it's okay, but speed-wise, not a problem. You can also reach 433 or something. The nitro is kinda okay. Brakes are good, just the handling is a bit... You have to anticipate on certain corners and situations, because if you have to make instant corrections, you immediately go wide, as you can see here, and just as we had before on the barriers. And that makes you lose a second here and a second there, and then the end result on a twisty track like this, not that good, with a 236.1. So, at this moment, BMW and Ducati. Unless this thing changes something. Conditions a little different now, because we are nighttime, which means we will have less traffic. But, next to the Kawasaki Z1000, this KTM 1290 Super Duke, it's probably the bike with the best handling. It also has some speed, handling pretty good as I said, but yeah, the biggest problem, most likely for this bike, is the brakes. It's not like they're bad, but the 1190 has way better brakes. But we're on a twisty track here, and this one has way better handling. You can steer pretty sharp with this thing, and on a run like this where there is a little less traffic than in some of the runs we saw before, yeah, you can sort of put the bike where you want it, and that already gives you a few seconds advantage here or there, I am assuming. But like here, yeah, just have to sort of play around with throttle and brake at the same time, and that makes the bikes in general slow down faster. But yeah. A problem with the brake there as well, that's why I went wide there. Because steering wise you can make the corner. But that's why you have to occasionally do a test like this, I guess. I knew it had a good handling, but what I didn't know is that, I don't know. Calling all units, they patched the bikes a little bit, somewhere in between. They said they were gonna patch the bikes again, even before calling on units and afterwards as well. But sometimes they don't say anything, they just do it, and then you notice it only afterwards. This was not a bad bike, but it was never as good as it seems to be now, as you will see here, because this one comes close to the BMW. It has a problem with top speed though, well, compared to the others. Not really a problem, but it's not as fast as the others are. So on a track with longer straights, it might have a problem. But on a twisty track where handling kinda matters, we end up with this KTM 1290 with a time of 2:29 and the BMW 1000 with a time of 2:28. Now, that means that we have a winner's battle coming up with 15 cars, and that means the winner of the hot hatch category, the Ford Focus. For sports, which were quite a few cars here, I have 4 contenders: the Nissan GT-R R35, the RUF 3400, the Lotus Exige and the Subaru BRZ. For the supercars, the Ferrari 458 and the Lamborghini Huracan. The hypercars, yeah, the two fastest probably out of the lot. The LaFerrari and the Pagani Huayra. For the muscle cars, the Ford Shelby, Mustang GT 500 won that one. Retro category, we had the Nissan Fairlady, top speed wise and handling wise, the McLaren F1. Utility was won by the Mini Countryman, and for the bikes, we have the BMW 1000 and the KTM 1290 Super Duke, as just shown out of this comparison test. Those 15 cars and bikes will go into a performance winners battle, and that will conclude. I will record one of the next hours or days, and then I will upload it, and that will conclude the performance. And then we move on to the race specs, and then later on to the circuit specs, all at 4097. That's also why it took a little bit longer to make some of these videos. I first dealt with all that, putting all the cars and bikes at 4097 so that I could go on with this series a little quicker. I will see you guys in the next one, and bye for now.